I thought I'd share my birth story because I had such a lovely birth with Noah, home birth, and it just went so amazing. And I know a lot of people have got questions about it, and I'm not really getting the chance to get back to everyone properly. So I thought I'd share how it went because it was so amazing and so different to Anna's birth and Ben's birth. So a bit of background. Anna's birth was a natural birth. It happened very fast. I was in hospital. It was very painful, and eventually she was born with Fontus, and I had to have an episiotomy, and recovery was really long. I was really bruised down below and just in so much pain for like a few weeks. And then Ben's birth was an emergency C-section because I had a low-lying placenta. So the birth was actually like fine. It was a bit stressful because obviously he was at risk, I was at risk, but like we were fine in the end. But the recovery was really long. It took me about 10 weeks to fully recover, well, to be able to pick up Anna again, not even fully recovered. So that was really tough. So for this birth, I really wanted it to go different, obviously, and did a lot of research, I guess, and I did a hypnobirthing course. I used the Positive Birth Company. I recommend them to literally everyone who's pregnant because they're really awesome. It's an online course and it's only, I think it's like £39, maybe even less than that, but they're so amazing, and it's all online, it's all videos, and you just watch as much as you want or as little as you want, or like rewatch the bits that are important to you, and they're just, yeah, they were really good. So yeah, this time around I did that course, and the more I thought about it, the more I really wanted a home birth, mostly because now I've got a bit of a phobia of hospitals because of how things have gone in the past, and I get so anxious, like just going in for a blood test, I get really anxious. So for giving birth, where you need to be as relaxed as possible and like stay centered and in your body, I knew it was going to be really hard for me to do, and then obviously giving birth during COVID made things difficult as well, because that meant Dale could only come in during established labour, so he wouldn't be with me the whole time. And I also really wanted to have my mum with me this time, and you're only allowed one birth partner. So I wasn't too keen on that. I really wanted a water birth, and it stressed me out that the hospital that I was booked at only had one birth pool. So there was a chance that I wouldn't be able to be in the water. So yeah, just everything was kind of leading me towards a home birth. And then my midwife was really pro home birth, and I found out that actually the midwife that I was seeing on a regular basis would be the one delivering my baby at the home birth, which was, I thought, was really nice, because obviously I would know her quite well by the time I was ready to give birth. So I booked the home birth, and then we sort of went backwards and forwards because of how my C-section went with Ben. I wasn't sure if I was like properly healed or if I'd have problems with what's it called, like rupturing. So I was a bit worried about that. So I also booked a C-section and was sort of going backwards and forwards. Eventually I got my notes back from Harlow Hospital, and they told me that it would be safe to go for a VBAC, vaginal birth after cesarean. So at that point we bought a pool, and I was set on a home birth, unless I went over by a certain amount, because I was thinking, like, if he's a really big baby, or maybe like it's a sign that my body just isn't ready to give birth again. So I had booked a C-section for 8 days past his due date, because I was thinking, like, that's quite a long time to go over, and that might be like, I don't know, I wasn't sure about the C-section, and I didn't want to like completely discard it. So home births have become really popular over COVID, because obviously no one wants to go into hospital. Maybe a lot of people feel the same as me, that they wanted more than one birth partner, or they want their birth partner all the time. So I couldn't find anywhere that was hiring a birth pool. My midwife's one had already gone out, and all the normal size pools had already gone. So I ended up with a pool that was like enormous, like filled our whole living room. It was it's like one where you can go in with your partner, which Dale didn't come in, but yeah, it was just a massive pool. So yeah, so we had that. So anyway, on the day of Noah's birth, I was 7 days overdue. I was so done with being pregnant, and my waters broke at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up actually like groaning in my sleep. I didn't really, I woke up like clearly like having like small contractions, and then I felt the pop, and I knew my waters had broken, because they broke with Anna and Ben as well, so I knew what it felt like. So I like woke Dale up, and I'm like, my water's broken, and he's like, oh okay, and just like kind of stayed laying down. I was like, Dale, you need to get like one of those puppy pads. We had like the puppy pad things, and put it on the floor, so when I stand up it like all goes on there, because it wasn't leaking yet. So he was like, oh, okay, puts the puppy pad down, and I stand up on it, and I'm like, it's not really absorbing, this is weird. He put the puppy pad down upside down, so I stood on the plastic bit, so that did nothing. It just like didn't absorb a thing. But anyway, so my waters broke at 3, and then I said, right, he like kind of sat back down on the bed, like ready to go back to sleep or something, I don't know. And I was like, okay, you need to ring mum, because the plan was that my mum would come and be with us. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'll ring your mum. So he rings my mum, and he's like, okay, hi Lydie, we're in early. And I'm like, what? In early what? Like, what are you talking about? Like early in the morning? He's like, yep, we're in early. Okay, bye. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? It's like, Dale, you need to wake up, because I could feel like my contractions were like starting to come like quite regular and quite strong. Like I knew it was going to be quite fast, like it was with Anna. Like I could just feel it coming on. So I'm like, right, Dale, get dressed, get the pool up, because it takes a long time to inflate the pool, and then even longer to actually put the water in. So if you're going to have a fast labour, you want the pool up as quick as possible and filled up, because it's easier to keep the water warm, or like warm it up, than to wait till the last minute and then have to fill it all up. So yeah, anyway, he got on it, he got downstairs. I was like walking around upstairs for a little while, and then came down and was just bouncing on the ball. Could feel the contractions coming on stronger and like quite regular. So it's like really I was really happy because I knew I was going to meet my baby soon. So I put my headphones on, and I used the app from the Positive Birth company. It's called Freya, the Freya app, and basically what it does is really, really good app. I really recommend it actually. It's only like £3 or something, and it times your contractions for you. And then once your contractions are 3 and 10, and you're in established labour, it goes like boop and like goes green and tells you that you're now most likely in established labour. And then when you're not contracting, it's got like nice relaxation, what's it called, like not meditations, but like, what's it called, like it tells you like to relax your face and relax your eyes, and just really nice relaxation techniques, I guess. So it's nice to listen to, and then you just press this button when you're contracting, it times it, you press it again once it's done, and it like does all the like checking the times for you, which is really great. So by the time I was using that app and bouncing on the ball, they were already coming sort of every 5 minutes and lasting about a minute. So very quickly I went into established labour. And my mum arrived at about 4:15. Basically, she'd had the kids sleep over at her house, Anna and Ben, and she was waiting for my sister's boyfriend to come and babysit for us. So he was driving to get to her house, and then she came to our house. So she got there for about 4:15, and by then my contractions were like every 2 minutes and lasting about minutes. They were like really coming on strong, and my mum came in all like, it's happening, and all excited, and I was like, yeah, whew, like there's another one. And I was just mainly like, had my headphones in, Dale put the tens machine on my back, and I was just on the ball and propping my head up on our dining table, like just kind of resting on there when I had a contraction, and then lifting my head up in between if I wanted to, or just keeping my eyes closed and just staying down on the table. So yeah, then I'm not sure actually what time my midwife came, but I called her around that time, like when my mum was there, and I was like, yeah, please come, like it's happening. Like they're getting quite close together and they're quite strong now. And then my midwife had just arrived, and I was like, I'd like to get in the pool. I wanted to get in the pool already, and it wasn't filled up properly yet. But I was like, it was getting really hot, like hard to, like on my back, it was really starting to hurt. So yeah, I wanted to get in the pool, and I was like, I'll have a wee before I get in, so that I don't have to get like in and out or anything. So I went to the toilet, and sitting on the toilet, like just kind of compressed everything, like it was really uncomfortable. And I started sort of complaining and saying like, oh, like I can't wee, like I'm so comfortable. And I was like, all of a sudden I was gonna be sick. I was like, oh mum, I'm gonna be sick, so we grabbed the bin, and I was like sick in the bin. I don't think I managed to have a wee at that point. Pretty sure I didn't. So I was just keen on getting in the pool. I was like, just get me in. And as soon as I got in the water, it wasn't even fully filled up, but it just felt so relaxing, so nice on my back. Like I was still having really strong contractions, but like I was able to, I don't know, relax into them a bit more, and it was just so much nicer being in the water. So from then on, I don't know what time it was by then, because obviously I wasn't keeping track, but we had, it was really nice. It was like all dark in the room. Dale had lit a few candles, and he'd put on like some nice like piano music in the background. It was like just really peaceful. My midwife was like just getting all her stuff out, and I had like my mum on one side, like on my right arm, and Dale on my left arm, and I was just kind of hanging out of the pool for the majority of my labour. And I was just, my contractions were like really getting closer and closer together. But because I was able to relax so much, I was getting a really nice break in between where like nothing hurt at all. I was completely able to relax. My mum was like doing this to me so that like I'd relax my face, because where like I'd had a contraction, I might have been like sort of frowning like this, and she was sort of like just doing that to me, so like relax my face. And she was doing like light touch massage on my back, and like just putting water on my back. And Dale was holding my left arm, and I was just holding him like really quite tight, and it was helping me to sort of not move around in the pool because it was so big. Like my feet actually couldn't reach the other side very easily. So yeah, it was just helping me like in a contraction. I didn't have to worry about like slipping or something. Like he was just really anchoring me, and my mum was just really helping me to relax, and it was just so lovely having them both there. And everyone was just sort of, every time I'd have a contraction, saying really positive things like, you're doing amazing, they're coming on really strong, baby's coming here soon, remember to relax, breathe through it, you're breathing really well. Like just everything was so positive. So yeah, even though the contractions are like super strong, in between I was just completely relaxed. My mum said like I almost looked like I was smiling in between, like I was just so relaxed, and I was so happy that I was like soon gonna meet my baby. So yeah, it was just, yeah, amazing. And obviously like there was pain, like it wasn't, the contractions were really strong and I was groaning, like doing that mooing kind of sound. But yeah, it was just so peaceful. Like in between. What did I want to say? Then at one point my midwife wanted to check me because I was saying that I wanted to push, but it was not very long, like in labor, and I was starting to like push with the contractions. And she was saying like it just seems a bit like too early. So she asked me to get out the pool and I was like, I really don't want to, but I did, and she checked me and she was like, I'll be as quick as I can. So I got out the pool and laid down on the sofa. We had loads of those puppy pads and then towels on top, I think, just to protect the sofa. And she checked me and I was only 7 centimeters dilated, so it wasn't time to push yet, but I just had this like urge to push already. And the same thing had happened in Anna's labor, and the midwife at Anna's labor had told me like, don't push all your tear, like don't push. And it really stressed me out because my body was just doing it and she was telling me not to. So I was like trying to hold it in, and like anyone who's given birth, like, you know, when you have the urge to push, it's like when you throw up, like you cannot stop it. And if you do stop it, like imagine stopping yourself throwing up, like how wrong that would feel, like how painful that would feel, like it just, you just can't, like if you need to push, you need to push. So I got back in and I was like, I feel like I need to push. I started to get a bit stressed about it, and my midwife was amazing, and she was like, you know, actually some women need to push earlier on to get the baby in the right position. So actually your pushes, try to like breathe through them and don't like actively push the baby, just let your body do the pushing. Your body's probably just trying to turn the baby because it looks like, or she could tell, I don't know how, that he wasn't quite in a good position. So I was like, okay. So when I was feeling the urge to push, I was just kind of like breathing and like sending it down, but not actually like pushing. I was just kind of making like a sound and like just letting my body push. And actually by then the second midwife had arrived, and she told me after that she thinks what happened is he was in not a great position and he turned, and he did like she thinks he did almost a full turn down the birth canal on the way down, which means it was actually quite like a difficult labor because he wasn't in the right position, and I had to do a lot of like effort to like turn him, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I was pushing quite early on, and then as the contractions were getting like really strong, close together, I was starting to get like quite tired, and I was thinking like how much longer, and I was starting to worry like, is he okay, like I'm pushing but nothing's happening. So it's like starting to get a bit anxious, and it was just so nice to be at home and have everyone saying like, it's okay, like trust your body. My midwife was saying like, trust your body knows what it's doing. So even though she'd raised a concern, she was still like, your body knows what it's doing, like just trust it. She was so good. And my mum and Dale were like, relax, like keep breathing, you're doing all the right things, he's coming soon. And then I ended up like putting my hand to like feel, and I was like, I can feel his head, like I could feel, it was quite far up, but I could feel his head and I could feel his hair. It was so cute. So yeah, I was like, okay, not long now. So I was just breathing through the contractions, and then I could feel that it shifted. Like my midwives were like, they kept saying like, do you feel like the pushing has changed? And I kept feeling a bit disheartened because it hadn't. Like the pushing just felt like I could still just breathe it down. And then all of a sudden it just changed, and I could feel like his head was like down in my pelvis, like just so low and like hard, like I could just really tell that it was right there. And then when I put my hand to feel, then my contractions went like through the roof, like it just touching his head. I don't know what it did, but it made my contractions like so much stronger, and I was like, it's changed, he's coming really soon, like I can feel the head. And then it was actually like quite a long time of pushing to get his head down, because he was doing, they talk about this on the Positive Birth Company, he was like coming right down, like right down the birth canal, and I could feel like he was almost gonna crown, and then my contraction would end and he'd like bob right back up, like so far back up. And I was like, after a few of that happening, I was like, he keeps bobbing right back up, like I can't get him down. And they were like, it's good, like that helps to prevent tearing if you can like sort of get the baby's head to go down, then back up, down, then back up, because it helps everything to like stretch slowly. So yeah, that went on for a little while, and then they were like, maybe change position. So I ended up like going from hanging over the pool with like my mum on one side, Dale on the other, to turning around, and I was sort of like on one knee, and then my left leg was like on its knee and my right leg was on its foot, so it was like kind of kneeling like you would get up. And that's when like I was able to like push the head out. And Dale said like at that point he nearly like cracked up laughing, because I'd gone from like all my contractions, I was just doing that like ooh sound, and then the next one I was like ooh and did like an almighty scream because his head crowned. And he crowned and his head was like half out but didn't fully come out. So if you've watched birth videos before, like, well, what I've seen is the head crowns and it pops out, and then your like vagina goes around the neck while you wait for the baby to turn, and then the body comes out. Like Noah's head just like, it just, the contraction stopped like on his head being half out. So I was like, oh my god, I was like screaming, and one of the midwives said like, breathe through it, breathe through it. So I was like like waiting for the next contraction to like get him out fully, or get the head out fully. And I like put my hand to feel, because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be tearing like everywhere, because his head's like just really like opening everything up. But it felt fine, so I was like, okay, it's okay. And then the next contraction, like I managed to get his head out, and I was like, the head's out, the head's out. And this is so weird, because the same thing happened with Anna. The head came out and all my contractions stopped completely, and I was like, oh no, like I've got nothing, I've got no contractions. They were like, next one, big push and he's out, and I was like I've got no contractions. So we waited a while. I had a few like small ones, and I was trying to push him out, and like it just wasn't strong enough to like get him fully out. So in the end, my midwife said, like stand up and lean on the side of the pool, and she was gonna like help me get him out with the next contraction, and also like the gravity of like being out the pool was gonna help him out. So that's what we did. A few times he actually kicked me while I was like standing up, and that was so painful because he was so low. He was kicking like just too low, like in my bladder, and just it was really painful. But yeah, we had like one more big contraction, and my midwife managed to help like pull him out. My mum said after, she was so shocked at how much she actually pulled on his head and neck to get him out, but he was fine. And yeah, he was born, and we were in our living room, and he was just there and in my arms, and it was like incredible. Like I was just amazed that I'd done it, that we'd just had a home birth, and it was just mostly super peaceful, super relaxing. Once he was born, like he had a bit of trouble with like his first breaths. He was a bit like and my midwife like telling me to blow in his face, and they put a tiny bit of oxygen on him to like help him get going, but that was only for like a few minutes, and then I stayed in the pool for long enough to birth the placenta, but we just waited for it to come naturally, and it was maybe, I don't know, like 15 minutes, so it's like long-ish, longer than they would probably let you wait in a hospital. But we just waited, and I had cuddles with Noah, and we had a few pictures in the pool, and I was like catching my breath, and yeah, then the placenta came out, and after that I got out the pool and just sat on my sofa cuddling my baby, and it was amazing. I got checked. My midwife checked me at that point to see if I'd had any tearing or needed any stitches, and I had just a tiny graze on where I'd had the episiotomy with Anna. And she was like, don't need any stitches, just a little graze, it'll heal up really quick, and that's it. So it was just, yeah, so nice to be at home at that point, because we were just so relaxed, and Dale was sitting on the sofa with me, and my mum was as well. The midwives were like, should we make you some toast and a cup of tea? And they were like just in the kitchen like getting stuff ready for us, which was really nice. And then yeah, after a while they did like a few checks on Noah. They weighed him and measured him, and then fed him for the first time. And yeah, we're just at home. What did we do after that? After that, my mum and Dale, like once the midwives had gone, they like cleaned up the pool, like emptied out all the pool and put it all like away. And then my mum went back to her house to be with the kids, to be with Anna and Ben. And she said she'd bring them back in the afternoon because it was like lunchtime by then. He was born at 9 o'clock in the morning. So my labour was from like 3 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock was when he was born. So relatively quick. Yeah, what happened after that? Yeah, so my mum went back to the kids. Me and Dale had showers and had a nap when he slept in our own bed and in our own showers. It was so great. And then by 4, like the kids came back, and we were just upstairs in the bed, and the kids like came up and met their baby brother in our family bed, and they were like super excited and so cute. I was like nearly crying at how adorable it was. Like it was just so sweet to see them with their baby brother, and so like natural that it was like at home, not in a hospital setting where like they're not allowed to touch certain things or go certain places. Like they could just do whatever they like because they're at home. And yeah, then we ended up having dinner. Like I was downstairs. I had dinner on the sofa because I was a bit sore, obviously from giving birth. And the kids just had their normal dinner, normal bedtime routine, and then we went to bed normal. Like it was so bizarre, like that bit, because I was like, I gave birth this morning. Like this is so weird. Like walking around my house, not in much pain at all. Like I wouldn't say any. I've been taking painkillers, but don't really need them, and it's only a week postpartum. And yeah, that was our home birth. So I would massively recommend it. I loved having my midwife there that I knew all along, and she was so like, she was really experienced because she is a home birth midwife. She just was really great, and it was amazing to have my mum and Dale with me the whole time, like saying supportive things, holding me, just everything was just brilliant. So yeah, I'd really recommend it to absolutely everyone, and I really feel like it's made me like heal from Anna's birth experience, because I was really traumatized from like how that birth went, and I think I actually had postpartum depression with her because of the birth. It really like took me a long time to accept that I hadn't done it myself, or like it hadn't gone the way I planned, and like every night for about 6 months I'd talk to Dale about it at bedtime, like, but I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd listen to my body more, like why didn't it go how I wanted, like I don't know, I had so many insecurities about it, and it made me feel really insecure as a new mum as well. Whereas yeah, this has just really helped me, I guess, heal that trauma, because I just feel so empowered from it. Like it was really amazing. So yeah, I'd just recommend it to anyone. So hope this answers some questions about home birth. That's what it was like for me, and if you go for one, then I hope it's amazing for you too.